Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of Dragon Masters. I'm Tristan, and today I'm gonna continue the other part, the last part of Dragon Master Shiny of the Silver Dragon. So last time we left off on chapter 9, and I'm gonna be reading, and I'm gonna read the rest of the story. Chapter 9, The Lonely Dragon. Drake shielded his eyes. Is that bright shine coming from a dragon? He thought. Argent, stand down, Jean commanded. These are the dragon masters that you told me to let in. The silver shine faded, revealing the most beautiful dragon Drake has ever seen. The dragon's body was covered in shimmering silver scales. The design on its large wings reminded Drake of a butterfly's wings, but all in silver. Argent shines when he thinks danger is near, Jean explained. Drake's dragonstone began to glow. He heard a worm's voice in his head. I communicated with Argent when we were on the tower. I think he trusts me, but Argent will attack if he thinks we will steal the key. Drake looked at Argent. Don't worry, he told Jean's dragon. We are here to protect the key, not steal it. He and Bo gazed around the dragon's lair. The big underground room had walls made of stone. Torches on the walls lit up the darkness. They cast a glow on a mound of silver treasures, goblets, coins, swords, and jewelry. Wow, Drake exclaimed. This is a lot of treasure. These treasures are not important, Jean replied. They're only here to confuse the thieves. The silver key's hidden in this lair. As she spoke, Argent began moving across the floor toward the other dragons. His blue eyes gazed at Worm and Shu. Then he moved even closer, looking directly into Worm's eyes. Argent has never seen another dragon before, Jean said. Bo gently touched the silver dragon's tail. That is sad, he said. Our dragons all have one another. Argent knows that guarding the silver key is a great honor, just as I do, Jean said. Then she smiled a little. Still, it is nice to have company. Shu opened her mouth and watery mist floated out. Bo laughed. I think Shu is showing off for Argent, he said. Argent must have incredible powers, Drake said. What can he do? Jean smiled again. Argent can blast enemies with his silver shine, she replied. Then when his opponents attack, his wings reflect the attack right back at them. Drake's mouth dropped open. That is amazing power. Suddenly, a bell rang in the lair. Carlos, Jean cried. He must have spotted one of the wizards. Chapter 10. Get ready. Argent's body began to shine brightly. Jean drew her sword. The air sizzled with magical energy. Drake felt his skin prickle. Worm, what's happening? Worm closed his eyes and his body began to glow. Diego is trying to break through the magical barrier. Diego is trying to get in, Drake told the others. We must protect the silver key, Jean cried. Right, Drake said. Bo, if Diego gets into the lair, command Shu to blast him with her healing mist. Bo patted his dragon. Get ready, Shu. Then Drake heard Worm's voice again. Maldred has added his powers to Diego's. Diego is very strong now, strong enough to break into the lair. It was just what Drake had feared, but Drake didn't repeat Worm's word. He didn't want to upset Bo or Jean. There had to be a way to protect the key. He whirled around to Jean. If Diego gets in, Worm could transport the key out of here to somewhere safe, just like he transported us onto the tower before, he said. Where is the key? Jean frowned. I cannot tell you, she said. How can I be sure that Worm will bring the key back here? Jean, please trust us, Drake begged. Worm can transport it out of here. Shu can cure Diego, and then I'll promise I'll bring the key right back to you. Jean looked at Argent. What should we do? She asked her dragon. Suddenly, Argent let out a piercing shriek. He started to flap his wings. Then, boom! A loud explosion rocked the dragon's lair. Chapter 11. Diego versus the Dragons. Diego appeared in a swirling cloud of red smoke. Red energy glowed from his body. His red glazed eyes looked wild. Drake waited for Bo to command Shu, but his friends were silent. Bo was frozen with shock at seeing Diego looking so evil. Bo, Shu needs to cure Diego now, Drake yelled. But Bo stayed silent, and Diego pointed at Shu. The water dragon looked at Bo, confused. Drake knew that Shu wouldn't attack Diego, a friend, unless Bo told her to. Red magic sparked from Diego's fingertips. He hit Shu with a blast of dark energy, knocking her out. Bo shook off his fear. Shu, he cried, kneeling at her side. Worm, freeze Diego, Drake yelled. Worm's body glowed. Bright green light surrounded Diego, but the wizard walked right through it. Argent, attack, Jean yelled. No, Drake cried. Argent's silver shine got even brighter. He roared, and a bright beam of light shot from his mouth and aimed at Diego. Diego held up both hands. Red magic flowed out from his fingertips, and he waved his arms, pushing the blast aside. Argent's silver energy exploded into a pile of treasure. Then the wizard shot a blast of red energy right at Argent. The silver dragon held up a shining wing. The red magic bounced off the wing and hit Diego. The wizard went flying backwards and banged his head on the silver chest. His eyes closed and his head drooped to one side. Drake turned to Jean. Please don't let Argent hurt Diego anymore, he said. We can still cure him. I must protect the key at all costs, Jean replied. Drake glanced over at Shu. The water dragon was stirring. In just 1 minute, she'd be able to heal Diego. But Shu would need time to break the spell that Maldred had put on Diego. Drake knew that Argent would attack as soon as Jean commanded him to. He wouldn't let that happen. Worm, freeze Argent, Drake yelled. Worm began to glow. Jean's eyes narrowed. She pointed her sword at Drake's chest. No, she said firmly. Stop Worm right now. Chapter 12. Argent's Powers. Worm's body started to glow brighter. Jean took a step closer to Drake. Drake looked right into Jean's eyes. You wouldn't hurt me, he said. I do not want to, Jean said. But I am sworn to protect the key. I cannot fail. She did not lower her sword. Please, Jean, give Shu a chance to heal Diego, Drake said. What if it doesn't work? I cannot take any chances, she replied. Call of Worm. I'm sorry, Jean, but I cannot take any chances either, Drake said. He turned to Worm. Freeze Argent, now! With a roar, Worm shot a blast of green energy at Argent. The silver dragon reflected it with a shining wing, but Worm was expecting that. He quickly transported out of the way. Next, Worm aimed the blast at Argent's tails, but the silver dragon whipped around and blocked it with his other wing. Worm, find some way to stop Argent, Drake pleaded inside his mind. I said call him off, she repeated. Suddenly her sword clattered to the ground. She spun around to see Bo standing behind her. He had knocked the sword from her hand using a piece of treasure. I can't let you hurt Drake, Bo told her. Bo and Jean stared at each other. Argent's silver shine became almost blinding as he got ready to attack Worm with a powerful energy blast. Worm, watch out, Drake cried. Then he felt a prickle on the back of his neck. Drake quickly turned around. Diego was awake. The wizard floated across the lair. His body glowed with red energy once more. The red lights sparkled across the silver reaches below. Jean, Bo, look, Drake yelled. Diego pointed at the treasure pile. The goblets, coins, and jewels shook. Then a sparkling silver disc rose up from within the pile. It floated right into Diego's hands. "It's the silver key!" Jean cried. "Argent, attack the wizard!" Chapter 13. A Win and a Loss. Argent turned around toward Diego, but before he could blast the wizard, Bo yelled out a command. "Shoo, heal Diego!" Shoo rushed over to the wizard. A blue cloud of water flowed from Shoo's mouth. A light blue mist rained down on him. Diego stopped moving. The red glow faded from his body. Soon he looked just like the Diego that the Dragon Masters knew. "He's cured!" Bo cried. "Argent, stand down!" Jean cried, and the silver dragon's shine faded. Diego blinked. "Drake? Bo? Where am I?" he asked. "You're in Gallia, in the lair of the silver dragon," Drake replied. "Maldred has put a spell on you. You were under his control." Diego gazed down at the sparkling silver discs in his hand. "Oh no," he said. "Did Maldred want me to steal this key? You're about to bring it to him, but Shoo healed you just in time," Bo told him. "The last thing I remember, Carlos and I were in my cottage, and I told him to hide from Maldred," Diego said. "Is Carlos okay?" "He's on the tower with Lalo," Drake said. "He rang a bell to warn us that you were coming." Now Diego noticed Jean. "I'm very sorry that I tried to steal the key," Diego said to her. "And I'm sorry that Argent attacked you," Jean said, "and that I almost attacked you too, Drake. But we have to protect the key no matter what." Diego nodded. "I understand," he said. "This key is very important." "Yes, it is," Jean said, "which is why I must stay here." Diego held out the silver key, but before Jean could take it, a red orb appeared next to them. Drake gasped. "That is one of Maldred's orbs. He remembers seeing them before, in King Roland's castle in the Empress Song's palace." The orb zoomed down and absorbed the key right out of Diego's hands. Argent roared and lunged at the orb, but the orb disappeared in a flash and took the silver key with him. And Drake's... Look. Those are the orbs, probably. Chapter 14. Don't give up. "Maldred has the key," Drake said, and his face turned pale. "No!" Jean cried. She turned to Drake. "Can Worm go after it? We must get it back." Drake shook his head. "Worm can only transport if he knows where he is going. There's no way we know where Maldred's orbs went." Jean sat down on a pile of silver coins. She put her face in her hands. But she did not cry. "I have failed," she said. "I am the first Dragon Master to lose the silver key." Diego put a hand on her shoulder. "You are also the first guardian of the key to face Maldred. He is the strongest dark wizard the world has ever seen. You did your best." "That is true. Always do your best. And always try again." "You did not fail, Jean. You were so brave," Drake said. "One of the bravest Dragon Masters I have ever seen." Bo nodded. "Drake is right. You did everything you could to protect the key." "My best was not good enough," Jean said. "I am not worthy to be Argent's Dragon Master." Argent began to shine softly. He nudged Jean with his head. Her dragonstone began to glow and she gave a small smile. "Thank you, Argent," she said. She turned to the others. "Argent says that he and I must not give up. He says we must search for the silver key." "You can come with us," Drake said. "We will find Maldred and the key." Jean shook her head. "Argent and I cannot leave this castle without permission. I will send a message to our king right away. As soon as I hear from him, I will join you." "Good," Drake said. "We'll need your help." Jean nodded. "I will be with you soon," she said. She stood up. "Before you go, I have something for each of you, Drake and Bo." She climbed up the treasure pile and picked up a shiny silver shield. She gave the shield to Bo. "This is for you, Bo, for bravely protecting your friend." Bo's eyes widened as he took the shield. "Thank you," he said. Then he picked up a shiny silver sword and held it out to Drake. "And this is for you, Drake." Chapter 15. A Magical Problem. Drake stared at the silver sword. "Thank you for this gift, Jean, But I am from a family of onion farmers, he said. Farmers don't use swords. You have the heart of a champion, one who fights for a good cause, Jean said. And every champion needs a sword. Drake took the sword from her. Thanks, he said, but next time I see you, you'll have to give me sword fighting lessons. Jean smiled at him. We must get Carlos and head to Bracken right away, Diego said. We need to let Griffith know what has happened. Yes, Drake replied. Let's go to the tower. Diego touched Worm, and so did Drake and Bo. Then Bo touched Shoe. Jean's dragon stone glowed again. Argent says thank you for your help, Jean said. Then Worm glowed green. We'll see you soon, Drake told Jean. We will defeat Maldred together. In a flash, they appeared on top of the tower. Drake gasped. Carlos, he cried. Carlos and Lalo floated in the air inside a bubble of red magic. I'll fix this, Diego offered. He pointed his finger at the bubble. Spell reverse. Nothing happened. Diego sighed. Oh no, Drake said. What happened to your magic? I must need time to recover from Maldred's spell, the wizard said. Shoo, can you help Boas's dragon? The water dragon nodded. She sent out another blue cloud, and the water and mist rained down on the red bubble. Carlos and Lalo gently floated down as the bubble slowly dissolved. Carlos ran toward Diego. Diego, you're all right, he cried. Yes, the wizard replied, and I'm glad you are safe now too. I'm sorry I used my magic against you. It's okay, Carlos said. I knew Maldred was making you do it. Let's get back to Bracken, Drake said. Everyone touch Worm. Excellent, Diego said. I need to see Griffith. I think I know where we can find Maldred. Chapter 16, The Gold Key. Worm transported them all back to the training room in King Roland's castle. Rory, Anna, and Petra came running in, followed by Griffith. Diego, you're cured, Griffith said, giving him a hug. Excellent work, Dragon Masters. Drake frowned. Well, we saved Diego, but Maldred still got the silver key, he said. Then he explained everything that had happened. Maldred is so sneaky, Petra said angrily. Yes, Rory agreed. But I hope we get to meet Jean soon. She sounds awesome. She is, Bo said. Griffith stroked his long white beard. It is more urgent than ever that we find Maldred, he said. But I don't know how to find him. His magic lets him hide from my gazing ball, and I don't know the location of the gold key. Diego grinned. I know where it is, he said. When Maldred had me under his control, I could connect to his thoughts. And now I seem I can remember some of them. The gold key is hidden on the island of Savarna. I have a map, Griffith said. The wizard hurried into the classroom and returned with a map of Savarna. Diego pointed to a mountain on the map. The key is hidden inside a lair on this mountain, he explained. Maldred is already on his way there, so you must hurry. The gold dragon and her dragon master will need your help. Thank you, my friend, Griffith said. Now you need to rest. Yes, I would not be much help to you without my magic. I'll return home with Carlos and Lalo. Diego replied, You and your dragon masters must lead the charge to stop Maldred from getting the gold key. Griffith turned to Drake. Are you ready to leave for Savarna? Am I ready? Drake wondered. Maldred is more powerful than ever. How are Worm and I supposed to stop him? What if we can't stop him? He looked around the room. The other dragon masters were strong. He wouldn't be going alone. Then he looked at the silver sword in his hand. You have the heart of a champion, Jean had told him. Drake took a deep breath. I'm ready, he said. Together we will stop Maldred. That's it for this book. I hope you liked reading Dragon Masters, The Shine of the Silver Dragon. I hope I do another read aloud soon. Bye.